Convocation is now in session. As Chancellor, it is my pleasure to welcome you to our 312th Convocation. Before we proceed with the ceremony, I'd like to call upon Professor Margaret McGlynn to present Western University's land acknowledgement.
I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge that our beautiful Western campus is situated on the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Lenape, and Attawandaron peoples, who have long-standing relationships to the land and region of southwestern Ontario and the City of London. The local First Nations communities of this area include Chippewa of the Thames First Nation, Oneida Nation of the Thames, and Munsee Delaware Nation. In the region, there are 11 First Nations communities and a growing Indigenous urban population. Western values the significant historical and contemporary contributions of local and regional First Nations and all of the original peoples of Turtle Island, also known as North America. Miigwech. Thank you.
To all our graduates, first let me say congratulations. You've worked hard to achieve this. Graduation represents a major milestone in your lives. At Convocation, we assemble as a university community to celebrate and recognize your achievements at Western and to wish you every success for the future. Your learning days are far from over. Learning is a lifelong process. Western has not provided you with answers to all questions. At most, we hope that what stays with you is a way of thinking objectively, approaching problems with an open mind, and a healthy respect for new ideas, all tempered with compassion and empathy for the human condition. You are forever a cherished member of this great university, founded 140 years ago. We welcome you into the Western family. Again, congratulations to each and every one of you. Today, we also confer an honorary degree upon Cameron Bailey, an acknowledgement of his outstanding contributions in the humanities and advancing the appreciation of culture in Canada and around the world. As Artistic Director of the renowned Toronto International Film Festival, we celebrate your creative vision, passion for excellence, and the commitment you bring to growing and sustaining one of the largest film festivals in the world. To present our distinguished candidate, I now call upon Dean Michael Mildy, Faculty of Arts and Humanities.
Cameron Bailey. As they say in the movies, let's cut to the chase. Cameron Bailey graduated from Western in 1987 with an honors degree in English literature. For the last 6 years, he has been the artistic director of TIFF, the Toronto International Film Festival, which just happens to be the largest and most important film festival in North America. TIFF has also been called the most influential film festival in the world, a keen and canny predictor of critical, commercial, and Oscar success. Cameron was born in the other London and lived in the UK and Barbados before his family came to Canada. He went to high school in Thornhill, Ontario, and got an early start in journalism as the editor of the school paper. He came to Western to study English and soon started writing for the Gazette, which he credits with introducing him to the craft and discipline of writing for publication. In his second year, he took his first course in contemporary film and was instantly captivated. He was struck by the potential that film had to challenge, educate, and enlighten, as well as entertain. He added film reviews to his list of Gazette contributions, and his career as a film critic was well and truly launched. After graduating, Cameron reviewed films for Toronto's Now magazine, the CBC, and CTV. He ended up in front of the camera as the host for the Showcase Review, presenting international film to Canadian audiences. And in 1990, he began programming for TIFF, eventually taking the reins as artistic director in 2012. Along the way, he earned a reputation as an astute judge of film talent with a willingness to champion artists from around the world. His global impact is evident in the stellar array of directors, actors, writers, and artists who are eager to flock to Toronto every fall. He is also very much in demand, asked to serve on film festival juries around the world, including Beijing, Busan, Tokyo, Reykjavik, Zanzibar, Tokyo again, and most recently, the Westlake Documentary Festival in Hangzhou, China. A key element in his success has been his unique ability to put his finger on the pulse of the moment and frame it with a sharp analysis. Whether as artistic director, critic, writer, or commentator, Cameron blends artistic acumen with critical insight, and his 50,000 plus Twitter followers are regularly treated to entries that link aesthetic judgment and political engagement. His collection of accolades ranges from being recognized as one of Canada's most influential people to being one of its best dressed, complete with an appearance in Esquire magazine. He is equally a committed civic leader who has served on the board of Tourism Toronto, as well as the board and Arts and Cultural Working Group for Toronto Civic Action. He is also a member of the Advisory Council for Haiti's Cine Institute Film School. In all of his endeavors, Cameron is a deeply committed advocate for the transformative power of art and education, their capacity to transform attitudes and improve the quality of life of people in all parts of Canada and the globe. Mr. Chancellor, on behalf of the Vice Chancellor and in the name of the Senate, I ask you to confer the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, upon Cameron Bailey.
By virtue of the authority vested in me as Chancellor, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa. Congratulations, Dr. Bailey. Thank you. On behalf of all assembled here today, I should now like to invite our newest alumnus, Dr. Cameron Bailey, to address Convocation.
Chancellor, Dean Milday, graduates, faculty, colleagues, Carolyn, my wife. It's a great honor to be here. To be referred to as Dr. Bailey is something I don't think I'll get used to. I didn't stick around long enough to earn one the honest way. But I'm very pleased to receive this honor today. If I seem familiar to you at all, it might be because you've seen me staring out at you doing like this outside Alumni Hall on that giant poster. Sorry. That thing's been here for longer than I was on campus when I was an undergraduate. My only hope is that amazing fake jazz hat that I was wearing gave you something to aspire to as you slogged your way through your courses. But these caps are nicer, aren't they? It's an honor to be back 30 years after my own convocation, and it's still a little hard to believe. Because when I attended Western, I lived, at least in my mind, as a subaltern. A word I learned on this campus, by the way, along with a whole lexicon of delicious theoretical language. Subaltern, like all the best words, has a contested meaning, but I took it to mean someone pushed to the periphery of society by social and political power. At Western, I was fortunate enough to have professors who helped me find the ideas that illuminated not just the books I was reading, but how I moved through this world. It was here that I came to understand how each one of us is shaped by various currents of power. So today, I'm going to speak to the people who don't belong here. Let me hang that phrase in the air for a minute. Maybe you don't belong because you came to Western as the very first person in your family ever to attend university, as I did. Maybe people made harmless jokes about your accent or your hair or your food or your body. Maybe you grew up on a farm and never got used to things that other people here took for granted. Maybe other people took their very bodies for granted when you couldn't. Maybe your people are the Atawandaran, the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, or the Lenni Lenape, and despite the fact that they took care of this land for thousands of years, you found it hard to find your place within these gates. Maybe everybody else seems smarter than you or better at figuring out the university game, or cuter at parties. Maybe you had a secret self that you didn't share with your classmates or even your friends because you thought there was no place here to be the real you. In other words, despite the particular nature of how you didn't belong, maybe you're one of us, maybe you're everybody. But the great thing about a word like belong, also one of those best words, is that it can be an active verb. Belonging can be something that you do. In my day job, I'm the artistic director of TIFF, and my job is to deliver to our audience the emotion and the ideas that you find in films. We do it on a big scale every September at the Toronto International Film Festival, and we do it all year round at our building in Toronto, the Lightbox, and across Canada with community groups called Film Circuit. But what it always boils down to, wherever it is telling and interpreting stories. And if I've learned anything, it's that stories are one of the most powerful ways we have to belong. Language, traditions, stories, and creative expression are what we mean when we say the word culture. Culture is obviously not just the ballet or the music we heard coming in. It's not just paintings in museums. It's not just our shared rituals when we enter a Tim Hortons, as sacred as they may be. Culture may be the most single important thing that defines us as human. Many other animals share our social behavior and our DNA, but they don't tell ghost stories, as far as we know. For philosophers, artists, humanities graduates, culture is more than an anthropological event that separated us from animals, if, in fact, we should be separated from animals. Now, what I began to learn here and have tried to put into practice is the notion that culture depends on abstract thought, social relations, and narrative. Our gift for abstract thought allows us to use words to describe not just the things in front of us, but things from the past or the future or things that exist only in our imaginations. Abstract thought gave us math and agriculture, which depends on future planning. It also gives us the idea of money, which of course we know isn't real, no matter what your student debt may tell you. If abstract thought gives us concepts, narrative and social bonds give us culture. The idea of characters' actions producing consequences for themselves and for others that then lead to other actions is both the simplest and one of the most endlessly complex things that we do as humans. And stories take on meaning only when they communicate between the teller and the audience. Each of us tells and interprets stories unconsciously many times every day. When we read the newspaper, or watch a TV show, or describe an ambition, or when we use phrases like, "So I was like," and then she was like, and then I was all like. We're always deep in stories and in the culture that stories project. I watch a fair number of movies every year, a ridiculous number actually, around 700. It's a lot, but it's a fraction of the thousands of stories that each one of us consumes. What I like is that if you pay attention, stories form patterns, and some of those patterns persist and have become the foundations of how we live our lives. Hero goes on a journey. That's everything from Star Wars to Homer's Odyssey to the Bhagavad Gita. A stranger comes to town. That's every Clint Eastwood Western, most superhero origin stories, and also the New Testament. A lover pursues an object of desire. That's Sex and the City and Oedipus Rex. Stories form patterns. You can boil whole disciplines down to those three words: anthropology, literary theory, cinema studies, psychoanalysis, all different ways of saying that stories form patterns. And when those patterns resonate, they generate belonging. The other great thing about stories is that the most fundamental ones are so powerful that they can be reworked infinitely. The narratives we listened to thousands of years ago around fires at night are some of the same stories we play today on Xbox. Why would the spine of a story endure thousands of years of human evolution? Because we need it. Because we can't call ourselves human if we don't explain our psyches, our social behavior, and our very existence through our stories. The world's great religions are rooted in stories. Businesses and universities have stories that they call brands. Governments have stories they call messaging. Most of us have personal stories that we push out into the world on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. Maybe some of you are doing that right now. don't stop. You're looking for others who connect with your story, your belonging. One thing I hadn't quite learned when I was at university, and I'm still learning now, is how the political conflicts that get us riled up, the opinions that enrage us, are just attempts to tell stories. When I was a student here, a professor named Philip Rushton proposed that black people had lower intelligence and lower levels of restraint. Asians, he proposed, had higher intelligence and restraint. Whites sat conveniently in the middle. Rushton's articles and speeches made him, for a while, the most famous university professor in the country. Back then, we marched and protested Rushton's racist ideas and his institutional power. Now I can see it as a sad little story, an attempt to establish his own identity as the norm, the center. Now we can just look at Philip Rushton's ideas and say, cool story, bro, and move on, because that story has no resonance. So if you're looking for answers, sooner or later you do well to turn to stories. It's why universities cut humanities programs at their peril. As our country and our world gets more complex, as change happens faster, stories may prove to be our most reliable analytical tool. We've all watched as facts have become less and less relevant to political discourse, as new Rushtons have sprung up at other universities. Facts no longer seem to be enough to combat hateful ideas anymore, but stories might do it. All of this is a long way of saying that the more you know about how stories work, the more stories you read, watch, listen to, or create, the more you deepen your understanding of the world we share. Use your stories. Belong. Thank you.
Thank you, Cameron, for your thoughtful address. Through your work at the Toronto International Film Festival and beyond, you have provided opportunities for viewers to experience a wide range of films from around the world. As a reviewer, instructor, and guest speaker, you have also helped educate audiences through engagements on radio, in print, and at universities and festivals. You have been a source of inspiration for all of us at Western. We are proud to call you one of our own. Distinguished guests, please join me in congratulating Western's newest Honorary Doctor of Laws, Dr. Cameron Bailey.
I take pleasure in asking the Vice Chancellor to present to Convocation our newly appointed Professor Emerita and Librarian Emeritus.
Thank you, Mr. Chancellor. The designation of Professor Emerita and Librarian Emeritus is an honorary title which recognizes long and distinguished academic service. Will Dr. Elizabeth Siracusa Doyle please step forward? Dr. Siracusa Doyle joined the Faculty of Health Sciences at Western in 1991. Educated and trained as a speech-language pathology researcher at the University of California, Santa Barbara. Her areas of expertise include children's language disorders, with a particular focus on the development of pragmatic competency. Her trustworthy and integrity-based administrative leadership set high standards, advancing the learning of graduate students and colleagues alike. She is lauded and best characterized for her integral work advancing women in scientific and administrative leadership roles, and for her equity-oriented service appointments and actions within and on behalf of the Academy. Mr. Chancellor, may I present Professor Emerita Elizabeth Siracusa Doyle. Chancellor. Will Mr. John Farcaso please step forward? John graduated from Western School of Library and Information Science MLIS program in 1980. Soon after, he was recruited by the school. And since then, he served in many capacities, including as systems librarian, and then as the manager of computing services in the Faculty of Information and Media Studies. Through his career, John kept pace with change, anticipating, evaluating, and implementing an ever-changing stream of technologies. John readily shared his knowledge through teaching, creating workshops, and giving presentations, both in Ontario and internationally. Mr. Chancellor, may I present Librarian Emeritus John Farquharson. Will the candidates for degrees, diplomas, and certificates please rise? Mr. Chancellor, I'm very much honored to present to you the candidates who have successfully completed their academic programs at Western. I ask you to admit them to the degrees, diplomas, and certificates for which they have been recommended by the Senate of our university.
Under the authority vested in me by the Senate, you will be admitted to the degrees, diplomas, and certificates as shall be announced by the public orators.
Thank you, Mr. Chancellor. Will the candidates please be seated? Mr. Chancellor, graduating students, colleagues, and distinguished guests, Convocation is the single most important time of celebration in the life of the university and the life of our graduating students. Today, we honor those graduating students who, through determination, hard work, and intelligence, have met the demanding standards of a Western degree. Today is a proud day for all of us associated with Western, including our Board of Governors and Senate, our faculty and staff, and our friends in the community. It's wonderful to see so many members of our community of learning who have taken the time to be here with us to celebrate this important day in the life of our graduates and the life of the university. Today, those of you crossing this stage join a special group known as Western Alumni that numbers more than 300,000 alumni living in 150 different countries around the world. We are pleased to have Mr. Mark Brown representing our Alumni Association, and I would ask him to please stand and be recognized. Western's Board of Governors is charged with responsibility for the overall governance of this institution. Today, we are pleased to have with us Mr. Douglas Keddy, representing our Board of Governors, and I'll ask him to please stand and be recognized. I'd also like to acknowledge and thank the parents, spouses, partners, children, relatives, and friends of our graduates who are here today. This celebration would not have been possible without your loving support. I ask that our graduating class rise once again, turn around, face your family and friends, and give them a warm round of applause for supporting your journey. Now let me congratulate once again the remarkable students who graduate today with Western degrees. Today you become partners in the outstanding academic achievements of the University of Western Ontario. My warmest wishes to each and every one of you. We'll now proceed with the granting of the degrees. Before we do so, I have two special requests for those of you in the audience. First, as a courtesy to all graduates and their families, please hold your applause and any other special expressions of joy until the public orators signal when applause is appropriate throughout the ceremony. This will ensure that the name of each graduate will be heard. So let me elaborate a little bit as to what will happen. We will be granting degrees to our doctoral candidates one at a time. So don't applaud them as they come through stage one at a time. Wait for the class to be completed, And then the public orators standing to my left, to your right, will lead us in our celebration. So join us then. After that, we'll grant degrees 3 at a time. And we'll try to do it class by class. And again, at appropriate interval, follow the lead of our public orators. I thank you in advance for your cooperation, because we want this ceremony to be a special one. Our graduates are special, and we take a great deal of pride in how we conduct our ceremonies. Second request is that photography. We know that photographs are important, but as you heard before the ceremony began, we are pleased to provide each graduate with a photograph of this special occasion. So therefore, we ask our guests to remain in your seats. Of course, feel free to take pictures from there. And I call on the public orators to introduce the candidate for degrees.
Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates from the School of Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies for the degree Doctor of Philosophy. Veromi Arsiradam. Frédéric Ismaël Banville. Daniel Booth. Rosemarie Dolinar. Cassandra Ellis. Amy Fryer. Raphael Korber. Demian Kogutek. Despina Kuali. Dina Lala. Itziri Moreno Villamar. Miranda Niitinen. Linda Norton. John Nyman. Ornella Zindukiimana. Lindsay Catherine Orr. Philippos Anastasios Papagenopoulos. Helen Louise Parkinson. Brendan William Riggin. Jamie Shaw. Adriana Soto Corominas. Sashindri Vijayakoon.
Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the degree Master of Arts. Regan Benner, Carrie Lynn Bodine, Stevenson Bone, Jonathan Bowen, Adam DeBosher, Sarita Gwendolyn Rose De Laurentiis, Jessica Duncan, Nassim Fakournia, Francesca Gable, Ileana Gonzalez Zavala, Yasmin Hakuz, Teresa Herbert, Zohre Javaheri, Andrew Kuman, Guzzle Kukreja, Renata Lohman, Shayla Ruth Ann McDonald, Judith Hope Mackay, Hannah Jane Maitland, Alessia Masterio, Hillary Mueller, Rebecca Power, Emily Ann Helen Peterbow, Sarah Redekop, Christine Stephanie Elise Sabina, Victoria Heather Scott, Jessica Emily Seeley, Natalie Scheffler, Edward Sviridenko, Jennifer Tran, Madeline Joy Tripp, Amanda Nicole Van Ravens, Walter Rafael Ramos Villanueva, Madeline Danielle Walker, Roger Wilkinson, Yichi Zhang, Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the degree Master of Clinical Science. Abiodun Temitope Adefalarin, Zainab Albayrani, Aram Pat Ame, Zainab Anjum, Jamie Kim Archer, Rachel Arsenault, Delapo Ayo Alanian, Maureen Muriel Banyard, Lee Bateman, Maria Fernanda Becerra Gomez, Linda Belanger, Andrew Ihor Yaroslaw Berezowski. Jennifer Bilby, Julie Lynn Bolton, Sarah Jane Boycott, Javel DeMay Douglas, Boris Chang, Ashley Catherine Ann Kulina. Jamie Darcy, Dana Davidson, Taylor Jade DeGlint. Leah Monique Delorletta, Kendra DeBacco, Natalie Christine Irene Dion. Jamie Lynn Droog, Michelle Egan, Sarah Farconde, Krista Lee Forsyth, Andrea Gumbale, Carly Elizabeth Grandy Getz.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very large degree group. I think we might take a break for a moment and give a round of applause to the students who've already crossed the stage.
Jordana Shayla Grossinger, Renaud Alexandre Guimont, Amanda Ham, Sarah Harper, Christina Nicole Hobbs, Aisha Linda Marisol Johnson, Natalie Marie Kameka, Marianne Kudrati, Dana Ann Kunzelman. Andrew Patrick Lozon, Rebecca Suzanne Lepore, Claire Suzanne Lavero, Matthew Bradley Lucas, Jade Ashley Mackenzie, Christine McNeil. Caitlin Diane Madigan, Andrew David McCormick, Natalie Colleen Mellick. Michelle Mercier, Heather Murray, Aaron Nickel. Rachel O'Connor, Jessica Pereira, Jasmine Diana Poliche. Sarah Prescott, Aaron Rahathi, Tessa Rankin. Amanda Robinson, Mackenzie Ann Sangster, Lindsay Jean Scott. Christopher Stephen Staton, Amy Lee Streeter, Samantha Marie Simmons. Rebecca Taggart, Frankie Tallarico, Colleen T-Bear. Jessica Shannon Towell, Nitin Trahan, Serena Tsi. Monica Rose Valenta, Veronica Alyssa Van Baal, Julianne Vandermeer. Scott Whitmore, Sophia Nicole Ikma, Nikki Christina Zay. Moyi Zhang.
Mr. Chancellor, the following is a candidate for the degree Master of Fine Arts, Sharmisa Kaur. Sorry, we miscued there.
Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the degree Master of Library and Information Science. Erickson Anupol, Evan Malcolm Burgess, Emily Ann Carlisle. Alana Mary Collier, Michelle Renee Cusick, Allison Eden Coleman D. Annabelle Drobniak, Madison Emily Edgar, Eric Clayton Fontaine. Leslie Ann Hamlin, Tasha Louise Longton, Justine Rachel Malouf. Harman Singh Mali, Rebecca Joy Mayer, Kelsey Ann Paradis. Caitlin Grace Parker, Tim Parkinson, Danica Leanne Pollock Potts. Amanda Pemberton, Nadine Patricia Poulos, Benjamin Robinson. Jessica Elizabeth May Rolfe, William Kirk Roy, Bailey Ann Shaw. Bailey Jane Talpas, Mary Tarsey, Andrew Stewart Turnbull. Fiona Meredith Wally, Caroline Whippy, Kathy Ann Irma Michelle Simon. Matthew White. Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the degree Master of Media in Journalism and Communication. Mara Emily Bogoji, Lauren Rachel Buss, Maeve Doyle Catomeris. Eric Flockhart, Woodrow Fraser Boychuk, Colin Shane Gallant. Tamo Primrose Gare, Ziv Hadi, Rebecca Jean Heaton. Nalanthi Hiwa, Oziomi Desiree Ibeto, Angela Nicole Kovacs. Megan Elise Kwan, Angela Marie McInnes, Mariam Hani Wadi Mishriki. Moses Philip Monterosa, Nina Rafik, Arthur Percy Sherwood. Janani Srinivasan, Ashley Robin Wiseman. Yep. Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the degree Master of Nursing. Jennifer Baker, Komal Basi, Karen Souza Bento. Andrew Ferguson, Heather Kelly, Megan Christine Maloney. Mauricio Marin Gonzalez, Elizabeth Motocado, Alicia Nicole Nolan. Julia Petrakis, Michael Reed, Nicole Shudlow. Kimberly Shantz, Megan Elizabeth Westendorp, Megan E.C. Yates. Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the degree Master of Physical Therapy. Thomas Allen, Jessica Lynn Armstrong, Aziza Azizi. Stephen Thomas Baker, Michaela Mitchie Ann Barnes, Megan Cayley. Andrea Danielle Carey, Lydia Carter, Celia Chan Chen. Eric Cho, Kristen Crane, Emma Crozier. Casey DeMello, Dennis Dunphy, Catherine Fraser. Elizabeth Fryer, Alexandra Catherine Greco, Laura Elizabeth Halsworth. Samantha Kathleen Hiller, Amira Kadri, Nicole Karan. Alex Gunyong Kim, Alexander Kravich, Dorothy Krolak. Christine Kwan, Tiffany Laporte, Francis Lung. Monica Taylor Lowen, Stephanie McAnini, Stephen Edward McGee. Neil McKinnon, Megan Leanne McRoberts, Aya Mohammed. Jerika Nahibuan, Laura Nasso, Pauline Yuyen.
Melissa Reinders, Alana Michelle Cassandra Roy, Mark Silva. Jonathan Sipos, Nicole Alicia Stokes, Adam Schwed. Philemon Sang, Kimberly Van Dijnhoven, Connor Williams. Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the degree Master of Science: Gordon Earl Barkwell, Ashley Maureen Muriel Banyard, Marquise Bond. Brianne Aimee Bruins, Adrian Nicholas Butizzoni, Kelsey Ashton Dines. Caitlin Grace Jacobs, Morgan Jennings, Marissa Lorraine Frere. Christopher Marcin Kowalski, Samira Omar, Andre Bevan Pelche. Maude Potvin Gilbert, Julie Marion Statler, Michelle Sut Wang. Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the degree Master of Science in Nursing: Hayat Al-Gamadi, Uhud Ali Al-Kabi, Fazia Mohammed J. Al-Khmadi. Ryan Chan, Olivia Ann Marcella, Alexis Elaine Smith. Edmund Joseph Walsh. Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the degree Master of Science in Occupational Therapy: Daniel William Ollerly, Haley Barron, Nicole Bigelow. Tavia Bond, Devin Bochelle, Melanie Campos. Charlotte Carla, Olivia Carovillano, Shannon Coffey. Jessica Daw, Brendan DeMello, Marcella Feit. Kaylee Gilhooly, Amanda Stephanie Gawalus, Natalia Haralishin. Leslie Zoe Hopkins, Emily Nancy Horst, Samantha Shirley Hunt. Alexander Kijak, Rachel Coote, Aaron Kowalchuk. Carmen Lam, Kimberly Kapo-Lee, Katrina Martin. Aaron McQuay, Dylan Menezes, Daniel Moreau. Carl Nega, Patricia Newen, Alicia Nicole Nickel. Dana Ellen Payment, Elena Pickering, Kaylee Rathwell. Megan Elizabeth Reddick, Yanni Reklitis, Caitlin Robbins. Hannah Rowland, Megan Russell, Christian Savoni. Lauren Catherine Schwamm, Ashley Sagan, Giuseppina Siciliano. Tori Swick-Blake, Trey Taylor, Nadine Thomas. Jennifer Van Dorp, Lisa Van Oesch, Melissa Ververs. Brianna Watson, Nolan Wielden. Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates from the Faculty of Health Sciences for the certificate Primary Health Care Nurse Practitioner. David Goddard. Vanessa Poma Yaboa. Shoma. Sadi. I was wondering what that was. Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates from the Faculty of Information and Media Studies for the degree Bachelor of Arts Honors Programs. Veronica Liman Chung, Alexa Shoma, Shireen Ektasadi. Megan Rosaline Harvey, Denzel Hunter, Venice Maravani. Tino Monk, Hannah Northgraves, Catherine Summers. Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the degree Bachelor of Arts four-year program. Amy Lynn Gaskin, Hunter Lane Johnson, Minjung Koo. Kiwa Lee, Savannah Lee, Chloe Semple. Carmen Aliyah White. Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the degree Bachelor of Arts: Jennifer Lee Hornick, Caprice Ada Waterman.
In the name of the Senate, I grant to the Registrar the authority to confer degrees, diplomas, and certificates to those candidates whose names appear in the official program but who are not present today. This time, I invite Mr. Mark Brown of our Alumni Association to say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Chancellor. My fellow graduates, it's my great honor on behalf of Western's Alumni Association to congratulate you and welcome you. You've worked hard to complete your studies and examinations, and today you've received your well-earned degrees. Western, our faculties and affiliated university colleges are very proud of our world-class standing, and we know that you share the pride as graduates of our undergraduate and graduate programs. Now, all of you join our growing global community of Western alumni, which numbers over 300,000. We are all united by the Western experience, our cherished memories of our times here, particularly of the knowledge and the friendships gained. You'll find your Western experience continues as alumni, and I encourage you to remain purple and proud by participating actively as an alumni, cultivating the strength and global reputation of our alma mater. So it's my pleasure to invite you and your guests to attend a reception in your honor to be held at the University Community Center Mustang Lounge, immediately following this convocation, where refreshments will be served, and where you also receive your 2018 class pin. So to you, your friends and families, enjoy and embrace the tributes you so richly deserve today, and remember, wherever life takes you, Western will always be home. Thank you.
Before closing convocation, I wish to express my appreciation to all who have contributed to the success of the day. In particular, and on your behalf as well, I want to thank the University of Western Ontario Convocation Brass for their magnificent performance and their director, Professor James McKay. May I request that the audience remain at their seats while the academic procession leaves the hall. Convocation is now adjourned.